Hello, Doobies N Movies. Have we hit 30? I believe we might have just hit 30. If so, that's sick. And thank you for letting me do that. I mean, it's kind of, I would do it anyway, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so this week, or today, it's not really a weekly thing. It's WandaVision and it's episode 3. So got Steve with me again, and Jovan coming in this time. So as Jovan, I didn't hear anything from you last week. What have your thoughts been about the show in general, and then also more specifically this last episode?
Well, yeah, I didn't catch you guys last week, but I watched the episode you all did on the review. You all did on it, and you all practically touched everything that I had to say about it. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It was it gave me a better understanding of what's happening now, and I really like obviously the setup of how they done it now. Like with the first episode, it was kind of like, obviously with the sitcoms, the set. Fucking hell, I rails fucking high already, brother. Oh shit, I got. You talk first.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, like you say, with the sitcoms and the different decades.
Yeah.
So
And,
yeah, you got it. You got yourself back.
Yeah. So basically, I like how they did on the first one. It was kind of like the starting for like this episode of this series they used to have called Bewitched.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the second one it was I Love Jeannie.
Okay.
And this one was more like the Brady Bunch with the starting.
Okay, and like the hairstyles and stuff.
Yeah. It was. I love how they did that.
And first you had the color coming in, and then you had Vision's quite kind of long hair and Wanda's outfit, and everything was just quite 70s and like the 70s sitcoms, which leads me to start thinking that by the time they catch up, they'll probably do things that are a bit similar to almost like Friends and stuff when they get to the 90s and 2000s. It'll be more like stuff that was more in our era, I suppose.
For real.
But yeah, Steve, what about you? What do you think of the episode?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. To be fair, I think I can see as like every episode goes, the humor's gonna get a little bit better because it will kind of get more relatable in terms of every single decade. So this year I found it a little bit funnier, and like I found that I loved how Geraldine was way more kind of like how you expect, or how like a stereotypical black woman with like jazz vibes might have been in the 70s, with kind of like being like really kind of her fashion was really sick. She had the sick afro, all this kind of stuff. And then I love these bits where it broke that wall again, where Vision had that moment where he was just like, something's really going wrong here, Wanda. And then there were these points where like the neighbors were chatting outside, and like Vision would go over and just chat to him and just find out what's going on. And they were just like so hesitant to say about it, and it's just kind of on the tip of their tongue to say it. And then there's that final bit where Geraldine just gets chucks out at the end, where it's leading up to this really, really sick kind of plot where it talks about, you know, the whole idea of this whole fake reality that Wanda and Vision are going through, and we don't even know if Vision is even real. Vision could be fake for all we know. So I love how it's still kind of playing on that role, and it's still playing on that kind of fake comedy that's going on with the kid that was just, you know, that was coming in at the last very second of the episode, and then hours later it's now being born. And I also love that bit about Quicksilver as well, about where Wanda has that touching moment about Pietro, and it's just like, oh shit, like and Geraldine mentioned Ultron. I love that. I really love that throwback.
So basically in this one, I kind of got a better understanding of what's happening. I'm not too sure about the timeline, but I think it could either be at that split moment where she's destroying the Infinity Stone, but I kind of doubt it because it seems because they had more of a relationship in Endgame. So I didn't know if
It's after
if
Endgame.
this
They've
was like
said it.
post. Yeah, it's definitely post Endgame where
Yeah.
she would. I think she going through like she's mourning and going through like depression, and I think she created this reality, and basically Hydra was the ones that infiltrated at first because they were the ones that created her, and they probably know how to find her better than S.W.O.R.D. And S.W.O.R.D, Geraldine, I don't know if she's the head of S.W.O.R.D in the MCU, but I know it's Abigail Brand in the comics.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure if S.W.O.R.D, I know S.W.O.R.D in the comics stands for Sentient World Operations and Response Division.
Yeah.
But I think because Wanda is on Earth in the MCU is gonna mean Sentient Weapon Operations and Response Division. So I'm not too sure if Geraldine's character is like a proper like high up rank in S.W.O.R.D or if she's
Monica Rambeau.
She's Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, she's
right,
Monica
so,
Rambeau.
Okay, so that's the Captain's daughter in Captain Marvel, yeah?
Yeah, she's a grown-up version of that girl in Captain Marvel. She's a S.W.O.R.D agent, by my understanding. And what that was she's obviously been infiltrated in as some kind of, I don't know, like double agent into the world to try and and not to upset the world. She's had to kind of play with it up to this point. And then the Quicksilver
to try
line,
to like entice her to stop doing what she's doing.
Yeah, and I think the Quicksilver line was a moment where she knew that Wanda had suddenly stepped out of her paradise because she was remembering her dead brother, and therefore she then puts it in like the slightest little hint, like, oh yeah, he was killed by Ultron, right? Trying to make her remember the real world. I thought that was so sick because, to be honest, this episode I was actually enjoying kind of less than the first two. Maybe it was just the excitement wearing off from the first week. But I was a bit like, sorry.
As they dropped that in, it was good for me as well. It was like, oh, what was that? You know, kind of like get intrigued.
And also, so obviously one bit was Monica Rambeau saying all that, but the other bit was that Wanda now has twins, whether they're real or not. In the comics, she has twins, right?
Twins.
Wiccan and Speed. I'm pretty sure. And her mind is so powerful. What I wonder is, even if she comes out of this world, does she...
If the character she created gonna be real, like if Vision's gonna be brought back and she's gonna have her two kids as well. Yeah. I think that's what might happen as well.
Yeah, that would be sick if so. It would just add, open up the universe.
I definitely think Hydra was the first ones to infiltrate it, and the two characters that was by the wall talking, they are part of Hydra, I think, and obviously they know where they are, but they obviously fear for their lives as well because they know how powerful she is and what she could do.
Yeah.
So they tried to hint. The Negro guy didn't know whether or not if he should tell Vision was actually happening.
Yeah. And I never clocked myself or thought myself Hydra had anything to do with it, but I think that's actually quite interesting to add that extra layer of it being some kind of situation with S.W.O.R.D and Hydra, which is why Monica Rambeau has had to be so kind of...
Had to step in,
and also been so like incognito this whole time because she can't let Hydra know. So I actually quite like that theory. That Hydra has something to do with it.
And obviously they were chattering by the wall saying, "Oh, she's a newcomer. She's a newcomer."
Yeah.
Obviously they knew that S.W.O.R.D found a way to infiltrate the reality that she created now. So they kind of like worried about what's happening and their plans gonna probably go haywire now. So they have to kind of like go to plan B or whatnot. They didn't know whether or not to tell Vision if he's not real and in this reality. Try to make her like stop or do something dramatic. I'm not sure.
That sounds really interesting actually. And because the advert again this week was for Hydra soap.
Hydra soap.
yeah, Hydra keeps popping
and
in these
and
little ways.
and as well as the whole MCU, everything ties into each other. I think what's happening here is setting up
The whole of
like
Phase
Baron
4.
Zemo, what Baron Zemo and thing gonna happen, whatever his agenda is in like
In Falcon.
Winter Soldier, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Yeah. I think all of that sounds really tangible, to be honest. I think that this idea that this is this thing, because it wasn't originally going to be the first thing in Phase 4, but what we only would have got kind of prequels, because if it had gone to plan, we would have got Black Widow and Eternals, which I think both would have been prequels. Therefore,
Yeah.
was always probably planning to be one of the first things to kick off Phase 4. So it does seem like these events could be incredibly consequential on everything else that we've got coming in Phase 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the end of the day, Wanda is a very powerful mutant, or I don't know what they gonna call them in the MCU, but because she almost as powerful as the Phoenix when Phoenix Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Create realities, destroy realities, bend anything to her will, kill anybody she wants, like just wipe them from existence with just a thought.
Yeah, no, that's well, that's the basis of House of M, which obviously everyone was always wanting this series to be mostly based on. But obviously a twist on it where it kind of almost maybe does something opposite to House of M, or like does something, but still is about her warping reality. And I do think that it will have a profound effect on the universe.
Yeah.
Going back
And
to
who knows if she actually brings Vision back, then they might find a way to bring Black Widow back with her power as well. Who knows?
I think Black Widow will stay dead. I think the ones we lost in Endgame, we've lost
Forever. Yeah.
I think there's got to be that consequence. But going back to the Quicksilver of it all, I think that was incredibly important, because I even mentioned in last week's episode that is there going to be that mention at least of Quicksilver, or something to do with Quicksilver, because obviously they haven't talked about him since he died in Ultron, and it's kind of, it weakened her character development for me over the movies. But yeah, to me it was just really nice to have him mentioned again, and obviously tease this idea that Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Kick-Ass, Quicksilver, might cameo in the show or be in it in some way, and maybe he gets brought back. I don't know.
You never know. Yeah, that would be sick. But I definitely know Hydra infiltrated that reality first, because in the first episode, the ads were all about Hydra at first. The first one, it said there's always time for Zemo.
Strucker.
That was the one for the watch. I can't remember what was the second one. What was the second one?
The second one was Tony Stark toaster, Stark Industries toaster.
Yeah.
So but moving on, I also wanted to go back to Steve talked about Geraldine finally getting to see her, and it being quite 70s, influenced her character and her personality. It was kind of Teyonah Paris. I think I've pronounced her name right there. Tiona, maybe. Her first kind of proper display at how she's going to be. Maybe not completely, because Monica Rambeau isn't going to be in the 70s, but because she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2 and obviously be a big kind of potential superhero now in the universe. It was important to kind of see her, and it was nice to see that she was actually quite a good actor. The way she switched tone between the comedy and the drama, and quite quickly in that little bit, was really good. Obviously, Elizabeth and Paul, as always, are really good. I was expecting to see Deborah Jo Rupp from That 70s Show, who was in the early episodes in the 70s, because she played in a sitcom set in the 70s. So I was just assuming they'd do some That 70s Show joke or something, but maybe later, because it was actually made in the 90s. I don't know. But yeah, that was a kind of surprise to me. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's anything in the actual episode itself that we haven't talked about. It was just kind of her being pregnant and Vision running around trying to get help.
Yeah. It was pretty comedic and enjoyable, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with these 20-minute episodes as well. They're like 25 minutes and then it's 7 minutes of credits. So the things, because it's kind of like a very light kind of comedy-based thing at the moment. because it's kind of building up to that plot, is kind of you have these important things to discuss that's to do with the plot, and then you have these kind of comedic little kind of nice little things they put in, like the Hydra adverts and all the little kind of cameos and whatnot from certain individuals like Geraldine. But yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can talk about in a 25-minute episode when half of it is just Wanda in a house, like magically making a fucking like stork do shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's only so much you can discuss, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive that
back then in the 70s. Sorry, you gone?
I was going to say it's pretty impressive. We still had so much to talk about from that episode, just because of all of the teasers for the future. But you can say what you were gonna.
Yeah. I just what was I gonna say? Okay, you were saying something about the episode and
About Wanda making the storks.
You were saying something about the 70s, I think. I don't know.
Oh right, yeah. Back in the 80s and 90s, when you watch a sitcom on the television, it's always slotted for half an hour, but with all the ads and stuff that they get in between, it always comes up to about 25 minutes. So I guess, I don't know if they're trying to like abide or like kind of like stick to that for like authenticity.
Yeah, no, I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be pretty sick if like they did that up until we got to like the 90s and the thousands, and then suddenly it started like getting longer. It started getting 45-minute episodes, 1 hour episodes and stuff, and it started getting way more specials and started getting like with Mando, where they had like differing episode lengths. If it started just kind of increasing rather than just kind of having random episodes as like 45 and then half an hour, it just got longer and longer and longer.
Well, I think
like the most important episodes were the longest, and then they always had like shorter ones for like the not so important. Yeah.
I think that the kind of comedy shows they're gonna do are gonna generally be around the half an hour mark, and I think that the dramas they're gonna do are gonna be more around actions. An hour, sorry, action. The more action dramas are gonna be like an hour, because I think Falcon, Winter Soldier, they say is gonna be an hour. Each episode, so we'll see how that all pans out. I also just want to say that all the jokes that the neighbor Agnes does throughout the whole show about her husband being awful, it always make me laugh. I just think they're so like good and so sitcom, and like obviously you never see this husband, and she just always comes in and just makes a joke about her husband being ugly or shit or something like that. But yeah.
It'll be funny if her husband end up turning out to be Baron Zemo.
But yeah, I think that's. Do I have something else to say? I think just to be excited for the 80s and how they're gonna play that. Slowly, you gotta feel like things have got to start coming to light. Really, maybe not next week, but if we're getting a little bit more each week. As we have done, there's probably going to be another dose. I mean, Geraldine has left the static, right, and gone. Or now she's like she's Monica Rambeau again, and she's been taken by S.W.O.R.D. So I guess maybe we might get something from outside of Westview.
Yeah, I was having a good look at the symbols on the sign for Westview, but I didn't really get anything out of it. I thought they might have like some kind of like little Easter eggs in it, but I didn't really catch anything from them.
No, it was just the only real like visual tease was just a quite obvious kind of sword necklace that Monica or Geraldine was wearing, yeah, which Wanda even clocked.
Yeah, she did. Because she saw the symbol from the start when they were like trying to infiltrate or maybe get her attention by sending the helicopter in, and obviously the helicopter was in color and she catch on and she saw the symbol, and then the beekeeper came up in the second one.
Yeah, the beekeeper's interested as well.
She had the power to bend reality to her will. She saw them infiltrated and she was like, nope, and then rewind everything.
Well, yeah, saying that was the thing. When Steve mentioned it briefly, Vision was trying to clock it, and then she rewound Vision. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, in this
Yeah.
episode, yeah, because obviously I don't think she want Vision to even catch on because I don't know, maybe he might disappear if he know what happening or I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good guess. She might even be worried that I mean, I don't know how conscious she is of what she's doing. I think her powers are bigger than her conscious thoughts. But
Yeah.
I think
And she probably don't know the extent of her power as yet as well.
Completely, because that's something that obviously again touched on it last week that she's always been a bit of a supporting character, and obviously she's been powerful. She's like broken an Infinity Stone, but her power to the
and remember
limits.
in Infinity War, the battle that they had on the field in Infinity War.
In Wakanda,
where they were all having trouble and shit, and when she just turned up in like 2 seconds, she fucked everybody up, and they were like, "Where were you?"
Yeah. I think she was. Yeah, I think she was obviously very powerful. But I think for people that didn't know the comics, I think they're always surprised when they get told that she's possibly the most powerful Avenger, or at least top 2, 3 most powerful Avengers. And I think that it's that emotional like power, I guess, that she can actually literally create worlds and warp realities and create people, like create life, which I'm pretty sure she's done in the comics as well. So for her to carry her kids over, and actually that's the only explainable way for Vision to have kids, because he, as many of you smart people know, he does not have semen,
reproductive organs or a heart or anything. I wonder if you even have a dick.
he probably like can synthesize a dick, right? Because he can like create shape, but
but he wouldn't even need to. He could just stick his hand straight into her body and just massage her G-spot for her.
Oh my god. This is some like R-rated behind the scenes spin-off that Jovan directed.
It's kind of like hentai porn you see on this is like the adverts you get on or some shit. But like the bit about when about Vision and when he's having that moment where he's kind of like realizing it's all not going on and whatnot. I think it's a really good point that it's kind of like, it wouldn't shock me at some point where like when you were talking about him like realizing it's not true and then him disappearing potentially, it wouldn't shock me if they even go to that point where like Wanda starts to like realize shit some like, you know, a few episodes down the line, and she starts to kind of wake up and starts to kind of, you know, things start to get a bit more real for her again, and that Vision does actually start to fade away or something. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the kind of route they go. But I mean, like I would, when it goes into like the 80s and the 90s, one thing I really want to see, and this is kind of stupid, but I just kind of had like a moment about it, like we were watching it this episode, was like, I really want the neighbor, not the woman, the guy, the one who's talking out with out the front of Vision's house. I really want him in the 90s to look like a fucking like a hip hop guy. I really want them to go down a hip hop route in the 90s and just like, I don't know, just like he'll be like dressed like Tupac or something. I just really want to see that in the 90s. I think that'd be really great. But yeah, I think like there's a lot of routes they're gonna go, and I think like S.W.O.R.D and Geraldine and everything is gonna be pretty crazy. To be honest, I didn't even know like Hydra was even still a thing. To be honest with you, I thought Hydra kind of like died out after Winter Soldier.
When one head's chopped off, another takes its
place,
no?
Yeah, another 3 grew, another 2 grew.
Yeah,
it's completely.
Yeah, Hydra never dies, boy.
Yeah, I think that is it, and I think that they haven't really touched on Hydra like since Winter Soldier. Obviously, them kind of getting rid of it a little bit, but it's surely got to come back stronger through Falcon and the Winter Soldier in some way. I just think it's too iconic of an organization, and that tagline's iconic, and also in the Captain America mythos specifically, it's a big deal. So I would be surprised. I didn't even think of them possibly being in WandaVision until Jovan mentioned it. But in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'd be surprised if they weren't in it.
They might be. They might cameo in a couple episodes. You never know.
Were you saying more anyway, Steve? Sorry, did I cut you off?
Yeah, no. The only thing else I was going to add was that when you were talking about that point about Wanda being so powerful, I feel like the only two individuals who have known Wanda's like full power were kind of two linked individuals. So Vision understands it because obviously he's got an Infinity Stone in his head, so he kind of understands how fucking powerful she is. And then also Ultron, because Ultron, when he was a thing, he really wanted Wanda to side with him because he knew how fucking powerful she was.
Yeah.
And I feel like it hasn't, until WandaVision, it hasn't really touched on how powerful Wanda actually is in terms that you see her, you know, like doing telekinetic shit and all this cool stuff. And like in Infinity War, you saw her, you know, like fucking moving those massive, those wheel things with blades on that cut through things and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, she powers up in Infinity War hard.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
And even in Endgame when she fuck everything. Well, when she
fucks up hard in Endgame too.
Yeah, defending Vision.
Well, she breaks in one of the Infinity Stones, but Thanos just reverses time. That was that tragic bit at the end of Infinity War. She breaks the Mind Stone.
Imagine how powerful she is if she have the power to actually break an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
That's like almost like godlike power, like Thor or something. He might have the power to destroy one.
I think she's more powerful than Thor.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Definitely.
Even Thanos had to use the stones to break the stones. Thanos
didn't
destroy a single stone by himself.
Yeah. I used the stones.
Yeah.
Question for you boys. What you think the next big saga gonna be? What do you think all of this gonna lead up to?
So they're gonna do Secret Invasion show, but I don't think that's gonna be the big arc. I think it's gonna build up to Secret Wars personally.
Yeah,
but I think it's gonna take quite a long time.
Yeah, it would take a long time, but especially how they're doing Secret Invasion, the next big like double like two movie like how Infinity War and Endgame would be Secret War.
Yeah. Especially after Fantastic Four and X-Men get properly introduced. I think you could then build up.
Yeah.
I think it would be like by phase 6 maybe that they do it. But a slow build up to something even bigger, I think is inevitable because they have to deliver. I just think Kevin Feige's a genius. He understands structure more than any man in the world. That's why the films work so well. And I think that he understands that we need a bit of a calm down. We need to strengthen all these characters, tell off these one-off comics, but still keep it quite everything linked, and then eventually in like 5 to even 10 years I think we can get a really big fucking huge crossover. But
for sure. I saw a poster the other day for the new Spider-Man not coming out, or the next Spider-Man not coming out, and it had the three of them on it. Tobey Maguire.
These are the rumors. That's what they're saying. They're all coming back, and that'll be in December. So this year is going to be incredible Marvel wise. It should be non-stop, but just to wind it down now because Zoom won't give me much more time anyway, but if we give a rating for the episode out of 10, Steve, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'd say it was a pretty solid episode. I think I'd agree with you with your earlier point that I didn't enjoy it as much as the other ones, but I think I'd agree in also saying that was kind of the buzz of it, just kind of wearing off a bit. I would say I'd give this episode a solid 8. I think it's really building up to it, and I have faith now in the way it's going to go. They're building it really well. They're putting in these solid hints here and there. It's not just smack bang right in your face. So it's got some really good solid plots. So yeah, I'd say a solid 8.
Javad?
Yeah, I agree. Solid 8. Definitely.
I agree as well. I think the fact that the beginning bit was a bit more like whatever, maybe just the buzz wearing off, but found myself a bit less into it at the beginning. But the end was so sick, mentioning Quicksilver and the way they first mentioned Quicksilver. And Ultron to me is really good because I also think that sometimes Age of Ultron is almost a bit like the forgotten one. So to remember that it is actually the first film that both those characters were introduced. It is important for both of their origins, so therefore incredibly important for this show. So it is good for them to just bring that film back under the microscope again. But yeah, thanks for taking part. Thanks for watching. Keep smoking doobies, keep watching movies. Unadulterated reviews.co.uk, unscripted, unedited, unadulterated. Like and subscribe to the page. Love and vibe every day. Marvel's WandaVision. We'll be back with you next week. There might be stuff before then. I can't really think now what's out, what's not. But bless. Yeah, safe.